Hello team, this is Barry Houdini and welcome to the Poison Necro Showcase. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get right into the gear. We have a 2-2 Death's Web, Trang's Claws, 10 Caster Ring, Rack to Mesh, Enigma for the chest. We have a 220 Circ with some resist on it. We have a 210 Amulet with some resist on it as well. We got a nice Homunculus. And we're going to end with a Wisp Projector. And I'll talk a little more about that later. And of course some Tri-Res boots. Normal charms, all res charms, torch here, got some Geeds with some skillers here as well. All of them gonna have some life on it because our life's gonna be pretty low with this build. And we have some extra res charms to kind of even out our resistances so that once we're finished with this build, we are at a solid 75 all. And we can start absorbing from there. And you can see I'm actually running the max block option here instead. Which is great. It's definitely different from running all vitality. I actually had an issue where I found that the only times I was actually dying in this game was when I would either get charged by some really souped up mobs from off screen, or I would end up teleporting into like a pack of like berserked out cows or something. So in order to like mitigate that, I decided to try out max block. It's been pretty good so far. I haven't died. I did some testing with it on Lord DeSace and his pack, where you know, they basically one-shot you, two-shot you in most instances. And I was actually able to survive about 3 shots, and I blocked a few as well. So I felt pretty comfortable getting hit by them and feeling like I had enough time to get out of it. So it felt pretty good that way. And I also found that my other deaths really came from the gloms when teleporting to Bale, which is actually why I'm running that Wisp Projector. Not only does it absorb lightning damage, which is basically the only magic damage that kills you at this level, it also gives you a Wisp that increases your Merc's damage, and your Merc is basically gonna be responsible for doing the most boss damage in this entire build. But outside of that, the build's pretty strong. As you can see, it's kind of going through player 1 pits with no issues here. We got a 10k Nova, but when you buff it up with the CTA on Switch, it goes up to 11k. You can also see we have an Insight Golem here too for that sweet infinite mana. I've been running a lot with just Clay Golem and just using pots. It works very well. But it only works if you don't use Corpse Explosion. If you use Corpse Explosion, you run out of mana. Like while teleporting and use Corpse Explosion, you run out of mana. It's way too fast, and your pots are always dwindling. So I just found it easier just to not run Corpse Explosion. And when it comes to like the offensive and playstyle ability of this, you'll kind of see me teleporting in like a triangle formation. And when I do that, that's going to give me the ability to poison the first wave. Go ahead and poison the second wave, and then poison the third, and then by the time I come back to the first wave, I'm either picking up loot or just finishing off the stragglers. That gives you like a way to maximize your poison uptime, because other than that, you're just gonna stand there recasting your poison on the same mobs, and you know, while they eventually die, it's no different from just casting it one time. It doesn't stack. So that was the P1 pits run. Before we move on to P8, I do want to show off a little bit more of the build. I do want to notate that I went 20 points into Golem Mastery. The reason I did that was I didn't want my expensive Iron Golem to die, so I went to max that out as much as possible. You can see the 10k Nova right there as well. So Nova is hitting pretty hard, 11k when buffed up. And lastly, I did want to go over the Merc's gear as well. Go with that Infinity. Very, very good in this build. And Eth Fortitude gives some more damage for that Infinity. And I went with G-Face instead of Andy's because you really want this Merc to put out more damage, because he's basically going to be killing the bosses for you more than anything. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into Players 8. I just joined a random cows game on lobby. Hope they don't get too mad at me for running and magifying their game, but I decided I wanted to get through this as quickly as possible before they even noticed I was doing it. So you'll see this is probably going to take about a minute, minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. which is pretty decent for a player's 8 cows run. So so you see me kind of doing the same thing I was discussing earlier, where it's more poisoning something and then moving on to the next pack, and then poisoning something and then coming back to what might be dead or barely living. And something cool you see here is that you'll see that most minions I'm fighting die in 1 Nova, and that's even without they die in 1 Nova even without the lower resist, which is great. That means you have more time to use other things other than lower resist in the couple seconds that they're alive. So for example, you might spend a second or two doing lower resist and then Nova. However, now you can do Nova and then teleport and then Nova on something else. Since it's still gonna take 1 Nova to kill no matter what, you can use that knowledge to get more spread on your poison and get more kills per time. Kind of speed up your run that way by killing stuff that you normally wouldn't be attacking if you're just standing in one place novaing. So no real damage taken here either. You'll see I'm only at 1104 life, which is like super low, but you're still able to basically go through this whole area without taking any damage, with your minions tanking for you and your Nova doing the kills. I don't think I'm using too much corpse explosion here. I probably could have shaved off another 20-30 seconds of my run if I was focusing on corpse explosion. But this gives you a better idea of how Nova itself works in this run and how powerful it is in the pits with their HP and its damage scaling. So we're reaching the end here, and yeah, that is P1 and P8 Nova, and I hope you enjoy it and bring more of this underplayed class into the world. Thanks for watching.